Raise your hand if you've ever failed at something really important to you. Now, keep it raised if you, knowing everything how it happened, you wouldn't change it for the world. Okay, let's break the news. Failing at something sucks. We all feel disappointed, sad, even mad sometimes. And it can be even from failing in a test, or even, I don't know, maybe getting fired from a job, or picking the wrong career. It's not really pretty. But there are a lot of influencers, mentors, even friends, your family, or even your mom that will tell you, well, just look at the bright side, right? Learn from your mistakes. But in that moment, we feel little, we feel sad, we feel even mad or disappointed. So it's really hard to follow that advice. So what can we change in that approach in order to really see the bright side, in order to see failure as something better? Well, let me tell you a personal story of the time that I worst failed in my life. Everything started when I was studying my biotechnology career. I was really amazed of all the things that you can do with science. For example, you can clean water, polluted water, with bacteria and microorganisms. Or maybe you can do styrofoam from mushrooms and avoid all the pollution from packaging. And even you can teach bacteria how to fight cancer cells and not kill the healthy ones. So it was amazing, and I was really, I wanted to do it all. But sometimes in your biotechnology career or in any science field, you have to choose one path. You have to specialize. And I didn't know what path to choose because even though I wanted to do everything, I also, I didn't see myself, as weird as it sounds, I didn't see myself in the lab like for all my life. So it was a kind of a crossroad. I didn't know what to do. Eventually, I discovered something great. I discovered bioentrepreneurship, startups and companies that, that wanted to use science in order to solve big issues in the real world. It made so much sense to me because how science can really get to society through a company, I think that's a hit. So I really wanted to do that, and I wanted to share it with everybody. I was really in love with bioentrepreneurship in that field. So I realized that I had 3 new purposes. One, I wanted to share how science solves relevant issues. Second, I wanted to inspire people to follow this path because it's not the typical path of scientists. And third, I wanted to help build a biotech entrepreneurship ecosystem. So people that would want to be entrepreneurs could have a network and get to it. So I did what everyone in my shoes would have done. I organized a biotech congress. Just kidding. It wasn't easy, but it was something that I really wanted to do. And there were a lot of people that would tell me that I couldn't do it. I was a student. So they would tell me that I had at least to have a PhD in order to organize this kind of event, that a student couldn't handle a 100 people event, and that it would be really challenging logistically and financially. And well, they were right. But I wanted to do it anyways. Luckily, I found people that would help me do it because they share my same purpose. It was really, really amazing. We started just 3 people, and little by little, we were a little bit more. So I learned a lot of things. We started actually in 2019, and we had to postpone our event due to the pandemic. But our first event was a hit. We had 200 people virtually across Latin America. We had entrepreneurs, we had scientists, we had dreamers. And in next year, in presence, we had 300 people. And next year, 400 people. It was amazing, and I felt really accomplished. But actually, what I learned about it is that I could manage a project, that I could lead a team, that I could share how science is building the world. And I thought for myself that I wanted to do that. I wanted to build a startup. So I had 3 more goals that became crystal clear for me. First, I wanted to create a startup that would use science to make the world better. Second, I wanted to learn as much as I could in the process. And third, I wanted to get rich. So, thanks to a program, an online program, I met 2 new friends that became my co-founders. And we started a biotech company. What we wanted to do is to genetically modify fungi in order to produce fragrances and other sustainable molecules. And I know what you're thinking, not this kind of fungi, but this kind of fungi. So we were just 3, just finishing college. We were in different cities, one of us even in another country, so it was really hard. We didn't know anything about building a startup, and we didn't have any money. So we had to get all the help that we could get. So we participated in some startup competitions, and actually we won 2 of them, one here in Mexico and the other one in Paris. It was amazing. And with that money, we were able to rent a little lab space and start our experiments and so on. And months after that, after a lot of experiments, and a lot of iteration and a lot of learning, and after applying to dozens of accelerators, we entered to an accelerator that is part of one of the top universities in the US. Only 1% of the applicants get in, so it was a dream come true. So thanks of that investment, we were able to rent a bigger lab, a more equipped lab, and we were able to travel. We actually went to Milan and to Berkeley to get mentorship, to get a lot of network, and we learned so much. I couldn't tell you how much we learned. But as any entrepreneur will tell you, it wasn't all easy. We had some days where we would work more than 12 hours a day, a lot of experiments that would fail, and we also spent some time away from home, away from the people that we love. So it was really hard. But we pushed the boundaries of our motivation, and well, after 2 years, sadly, we had to shut it down. So I was devastated. It was a really awful experience. I felt like I failed. And in that moment, I had to think for myself, what now? What happens when you put all the energy that you have in something that you care so much and you fail? So after that, I started to think of my goals, right? Of the goals that I set for myself. So for creating a startup that would use science to make the world better, well, we can scratch that one off. About learning as much as I could in the process, well, yeah, I did learn a lot, more than I could ever imagine. And well, about getting rich, let's not talk about it. So after some time passed and I reflect on that experience, one day, one person that I have once invited to my Congress texted me, and she told me that she was working in a venture capital firm that explored for scientists and for business people, and that would match them, mentor them, and invest in their projects in order to make new biotech startup companies in Latin America. And she asked me if I wanted to join them, if I wanted to join to build the ecosystem here in Mexico. So of course I said yes. And now I work with this incredible team, and I go to the universities and I look for these incredible scientists and innovative people. And I go with the people in business and I convince them to work with the scientists in order to make amazing startups. So it's a dream come true for me. And in that moment I realized, what if I never organized that Congress? I wouldn't met her, never. And in what moment I would, and if I never did this startup, I wouldn't have anything to teach the entrepreneurs. So everything started getting this form. And maybe you would think like, okay, you learn from your mistakes, where's the lesson, right? But I realized that it was more about the knowledge and more of the experience. It was that it brought me closer to my purpose. And this is like really, it was a realization for me, because if you are working in your goals and your goals are aligned with your purpose, then failure will mean that you are thriving, that you are trying things and you are learning. So eventually I thought that goals are not your purpose. You see, goals are something that you aim for, but purpose is the reason why you aim in the first place. So I started thinking about my purpose and if I was aligned with it now in my work, and share how science solves relevant issues. Well, yeah, I share how our startups are helping the world. Inspire people, I inspire business people and scientists to become entrepreneurs. And finally, help building a biotech entrepreneurship ecosystem. Well, that's basically my job. So it was really a hit for me to fulfill all of this. So you may think that it's really simple, right? Just put your goals, align to your purpose, and you will be fine. But sometimes it's hard to know what your life purpose is. I don't know if any of you know what's your life purpose. But sometimes it can change and it may evolve, but I want to share with you a tool that can help you to understand your life purpose or to discover it. It's a really famous concept called Ikigai. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a Japanese concept that means reason for being, reason to live. So the first thing that you have to ask yourself is what you love. It could be ceramics, it could be painting, it could be science, like my case. Then you have to think what you are good at. And sometimes we think that it has to be like a hard skill, but sometimes it's more like a soft skill. Maybe you're good communicating ideas, maybe you're good at negotiation, and so on. Third, you have to think what the world needs. And let me tell you, the world needs a lot of things. And finally, what can you be paid for? What can you be rewarded, okay? So in the intersection of all of these circles, you will find your passion, your mission, your profession, and your vocation. And in the center of all of that, you will find your Ikigai, your life purpose. So, okay, we are going to align our objectives with our life purpose. Now we can see how we did our life purpose, how to discover our life purpose. And what then? What if I already know my life purpose and I still think that I'm not successful yet? What happens then? Well, what if we're thinking about success all wrong? Sometimes we think of success as a destination. We think that we are here, we are poor, we are lost, we are confused maybe, and you have to get up there. You have to be successful, you have to get money, fame, even, well, happiness. It's a destination, right? But what if we think of success more like an expansion? Let me explain. Maybe you are here, right? And with every experience that you have, even if you fail or you succeed, you are going to be here. You are going to expand. You are going to learn more. And with each of the experiences that you have, you are going to keep expanding and expanding. So in my case, for example, I started studying and just amazed by all the things. And then I made a congress, and it was a hit. And then I built a startup, and it was a failure. And then now I'm in my dream job, basically, and I get to do all the things that I want to do. And there's bad days, of course. But what do we think of success as an expansion? So I want you to think, what would really fulfill you? What would be your next expansion, more than just your next step? And think about this. Failing without a purpose is painful, but failing with a purpose is transformation. Thank you.